Hey guys, welcome back to Maxplained Dawn of War Unification. Today I have another faction guide for you, this time for the Harlequins. The Harlequins are elder faction of course, with more focus on melee combat and cool abilities and stuff. It's a more of a smaller faction mod, got a few new units and stuff in the last update, so yeah, gonna be interesting. I myself do enjoy Harlequins quite a lot because they are very unique in some ways, which I will explain to you in the replay I have, in the save game I have prepared. And here we are in the saved game. Before we go through the units and all the good stuff, we always talk about the resources and unit caps. The resources are mostly standard for requisition. At least you get your HQ, which applies some requisition stuff. Then you have listening posts, of course, then which you can upgrade, and you have researches also for to upgrade it. What is special, however, is the power. The power you get by special abilities used by in your HQ. For example, Warp Vitae Harvester, which is an ability you click once, and then you get some power. It shows plus 10. It was 50, goes to plus 10, but this is because I already have an upgrade for it. Normally it is you pay 100, you get plus 8 for quite a long time, and then you need to click it once. This is done again to get again the plus 8 income. You have the same ability on your listening posts, which you can activate, and later you get the greater after an upgrade, which gives you a lot more, gives you plus 16. The doubled amount for less than double the cost, so it's a bit better in the ratio actually, but needs an upgrade for it. This has some upsides and downsides compared to the usual generation of power via generators. The upside is you can immediately click it once you start the game, so you can have very early power income. It is also you do not need builders. You have no builders that can be sniped while building generators. Your builders are more free to do other stuff. We will talk about the builders later on. They can be useful otherwise as well. So you can, for the most part, play most games with 1, maximum 2 builders and be good to go. The downside is that you do not get the power gift. Normally, once you build a generator, you get a power gift of 50 power. That's nothing you can get. So you cannot kickstart your power income. You have to think more in advance. And you are limited in the amount of power you can get by the amount of listening posts you can get. I mean, you get 1 from your HQ, but every more income you need listening posts for it. So if you are on a map with limited listening posts or get contained, it is not as easy to switch to a more power intensive build to maybe try to and break free. So this is the downsides. I myself think that the upsides are more, or like in the normal game flow, the upsides outweigh the downsides. Another downside is that you need to click it once it's full, but this is I think 5 minutes or so it's not that big of a deal. The general ratio is pretty good, 100 requisition for quite a lot of power. Of course, you still get the warp plasma generator, like the bigger generator on Slack deposits, for some steady income as well. So this does still exist. That's the power and the resources. Now there's 2 upgrades. I should talk about one upgrade allows you the second ability, and the next upgrade increases your power income in general by 20%. Okay, this is the resources. Let's talk about unit caps. Unit caps are more on the standard side, not like the Elder have. It's more like you would see from any other faction like Space Marines and stuff, where you start off with 10-0 and you have 2 infantry upgrades and 4 vehicle upgrades. Each gives you plus 5 for squads or vehicle, and the vehicle production building, the stage support portal, also provides you plus 3 vehicle cap. So this is how the caps work, so nothing special in that regard. Okay, so this is now the resources in unit caps. Now we talk about buildings. The buildings are more or less standard-ish. You have your HQ where you get your builders and capper units, some commander-like units, of course. The power income is located here as well, and you can upgrade your tiers. Tier 2 and Tier 3, which are all researches, so once they are done, they are done. It's no add-ons, so even if you lose your HQ, you are still in the tier. you see something here that most buildings have is a relocate. Relocate needs to be researched from your listening post, from your warp flux pylons. And then most buildings, or basically all that are not on something special or mines, can be relocated. Relocating is a little different than for Elder. For Elder, relocating can only be done on the webway gates. For the Harlequins, they can be done on listening posts, on HQs, on the Dark Whale, which we will talk later on, and also where the Harlequin can summon a little webway gate, timed webway gate, where you can also relocate to, which is kind of funny. So that's how relocating works. Some property of all buildings, basically. Then you have your trope portal, which is basically your barracks. All your infantry and your first commander is in it. Your Temple of the TheLaughingMax is the one, your armory kind of building, where you get all the different upgrades from. In tier 2 you can add a stage support portal, which is a vehicle production facility, or a mask portal, which is also similar to Space Marines and stuff. Your commander building, where you get the Shadow Weaver, which is your spellcaster unit, and your Bard, which is like an apothecary you can think of. So it's a mixture, as I said, it's a mixture of Elder, and the structure is more like Space Marines, and the playstyle is something different altogether. So this is interesting. Okay, and then you have the Dark Veil, which is your building you can build in tier 3, which has the tier 4 research in it, has some commander units and relic, and your Titan unit. And the special unit thing about the Dark Veil, I quickly show you. When I build, let's say, this part, you can put it in here. And then once you have it done, you can be deep striking all around the map. And I think it even ignores Fog of War, which is interesting. And another thing is that they are connected to the web brigades over here, that you can build these. Sorry, these web brigades are timed, so they lose HP. But yeah, you can basically use the Great Harlequin to build a web brigade somewhere on the map, put all your units inside, get them over in the Dark Veil, and deep strike him from over there. So that's mobility wise quite a unique thing you can do. Sorry, my voice is kind of dying. So yeah, you can then deep strike them anywhere. So this is very, very cool and underused strategy, I have to say, for the Harlequins. Can be very useful. Defensive wise, you have otherwise than your listening post that you can upgrade. The second upgrade gives them a bright lens for anti-vehicle and stuff, pretty normal as well. You only have these tangle traps, I think. These are not normal mines, these are each grenade slows down the enemy once triggered, so it's less damage, or even if it's all damage, I'm not sure. But it's Reynolds uses grenades are triggered. Yeah, it's basically a slowing minefield instead of your standard explosive minefield. I think this covers the buildings. I think I have covered all the buildings. There's one building only, survival only, are turrets, so they have no turrets available on their own. One thing I forgot to mention, the HQ has an aura around it. It states a large aura around itself. No. Protects an aura of jealous performance, enemy morale, speed, and accuracy. So the enemy is slowed and it doesn't shoot as accurate, basically a damage buff, debuff. So fighting near your HQ is good, or at least if the enemy is near your HQ. This allows you to fight or defend your base a bit more. As I said, you do not have turrets, so this has to do it, I guess. Okay, that's the building out of the way, the buildings. Let's quickly talk about the units. The units are, as usual, divided on builders and commanders over here. One thing you will notice are the different units. You have effects like the sparkly effect here. This is the, what they called holosuits. This is the HP upgrade, you can call it, for the Harlequins. It doesn't work like a standard HP upgrade. Each upgrade increases the chance of attacks missing on the unit, basically. Like a unit will attack it and it will not take damage from it, so there's a chance. So it's more of a chance game if you get hit or not, and it increases. This is basically, it's more or less the same as effective HP. What is not reduced. However, is I think the damage from spells and stuff like that if it's not dodged. Not really sure how the mechanics of Dawn of War work with that, and I'm also thinking you cannot dodge artillery shots with it, something like that. But anything that's not artillery or spells will or can be dodged, increasingly the chance. You see these sparkly things, this is the holo suits, which does that for the infantry. Then have these shiny things, this is the commander upgrade, which does the same for commanders. And for vehicles later on you see these little shimmering, these are the holo fields around the vehicles, which also do the thing with the dodging attacks. But these are 3 separate upgrades for infantry, for commanders and for vehicles. Okay. But now let's talk about the builder unit. It's the Chorus. The Chorus is a 3 squad unit, gets out in 3 units as well. It's like a squad of bone singers, you can think of it. And they're really singing, it's at least says. They have an aura which increases HP, regeneration of units around. For the most part it wasn't really noticeable, but got buffed a bit, so it is now noticeable. And those lads can hold their own, especially something like scouts in melee and stuff. I have used them. And yeah, keep them close to your units so they can repair vehicles and also heal your infantry and command units. Very useful. Other than that, your standard builder units can build and repair. One thing I noticed in the buildings that you do not need generators and stuff. So for the most part, you can get away with 1 builder in most builds, which is, some resources saved up. Okay, the commanders over here. You can see here the first commander is the Great Harlequin. It's she, I think it's the she, is really good at melee and ranged. Can be attached to a squad, can put in a stage rehearsal, which is basically the web brigade we have seen, costs power and requisition, so do not use it too easily. Later on it can get abilities like the Recho's Mask, which is basically, I think, causes heavy morale damage and temporarily slows down foes. There you go. And then the last Lath. Can survive even the grave. This wounds, basically a dodge death ability. The last one is a teleport, but the teleport is something you get from a wargear research in tier 3. It's not like your standard teleport on commanders, it is more like your Big Mac teleport, so you can use it once you're attached, get to teleport the whole squad with, you see it, little to no delay. So very useful in the later stages. So the Great Harlequin stays very useful even later on, especially if you pair her with the Shadow Dancers, which is your tier 3 units we will talk later on, which are very good in melee. If you can teleport them around, get them the right interface to the enemy, can be very useful. In tier 2 you get access to the Shadow Weaver and the Bard. The Shadow Weaver, the Shadow Seer, is your detector and spellcaster commander, can also be attached. Has 3 abilities, and the 4th ability you need to research. The first ability is Veil of Tears. Nearby ally squads gain range damage resistance and bonus resistance for the duration of the ability. Basically, I mean all these are more meant for melee units. So if you put that on, you can make your units more survivable, which is very useful. Then you have the misdirection. Target enemy squads. Sends confusion, disarray through enemy ranks. Misdirection. It sounds like a confuse, which is very useful, like on a targeted squad, not an area. Daze. Target enemy squad is movement attack speed halved. So also very good for melee units, of course, if you can slow an enemy unit, and also the attack speed, so also a damage debuff, so very useful if you are chasing something or want to close the gap with your melee squad. So you see, this makes your melee squads more survivable, this slows your enemy squads down, and these can confuse one. And then the last one is the Haunting. Enemy troops in target areas suffer considerable psychological and physical damage. This is basically a big AoE blob damage, right? There you go. How does it look like? Yeah, look at it go. This is more or less, like a something like a strafing one, but different, it looks like. And then we have the Bard. The Bard is similar to your, how should I say, your Apothecary. Increases the morale of the troop she leads. Okay, it does not increase the HP regeneration by itself, but it has two songs. Songs of Cain and songs of Kikorath. The first one is a damage boost, which is pretty significant as well. And the second one is a HP regeneration and morale regeneration ability, which she can use. Whatever. On the squad, the bard leads, which is very important. The Cain gives you this thing here, and there you see they have a shared cooldown. Quickly wanting to check how the other one looks like. Okay, yeah, you see it's more glowy white here, and this more purpley is a damage boost. As I said, it's also active for the full squad. And then in tier 3 you have this lonely one, the Solitaire over here. The Solitaire is special in the way that everything near her will get her morale drained. So they are, you see here, the morale will drain. So yeah, she is wants to be alone. Fear and allies and foes alike, so it's also available for the enemy. And then she has two things. She has Embrace Kiagorath, which slowly becomes immune to all damage for the duration, which is pretty handy. And the second one is the Dance of Death, which you know from the standard Harlequin. If you come in close and use it, then she will jump around and knock down all the foes around. Very useful. Very good against commanders, I think, as well. It shows infantry, vehicle, and morale. Yeah, good damage overall. But you need to keep her separate from your other units. The last commander you have access to is Sylantri Whale Walker, which has also quite an array of abilities. She can summon an illusionary Spirit Walker. Spirit Walker is your tier 4 relic unit over here, similar to the Avatar of Cain and similar also not. And this illusionary one does not deal any damage, but has quite big knockdown. You can see here with her standard attacks. With its standard attacks, it can do quite a lot of knockdown and also tank quite a bit with the 8k HP it has. Need a relic though, and yeah, can only have one, of course. The Shards of Light causes blindness to all enemy units, which is basically, yeah, the blinding light ability of the Canoness, so similar to it. Then you have the Fog of Dreams, very minor damage and prevents them from function, confuses and debilitates enemies. Yeah, basically a stun, it looks like, a stun and some damage. Looks like the Corrosive Cloud from Dark Elder. And then we have Mirror of Minds, target physical attack which shows enemy credits for minimal damage but takes the target squads very vulnerable for a while. Well, level of vulnerability varies, so basically a debuff for taking more damage. And she, as you see, she's really fast, really good combatant on her own, but yeah, a lot of abilities to be used, which is in general true for Harlequins and Elder alike. Of course, there are all these units which have a lot of abilities you need to know and use very well to make good use of it. Let's jump over to the infantry. And infantry is very good for Harlequins. You start off with the mimes. Mimes are very good in tier 1. They can hold their own in melee and ranged, especially if they got the first upgrade of the holosuits. They have quite a good morale damage on the ranged attacks, so this is something that they can use very effectively. As you see, they can be infiltrated in tier 2 with an upgrade, and they have an additional upgrade, I think it's tier 3 or tier 4, which allows any attached commander also to be infiltrated. So this is very useful. But yeah, infiltrated mimes in tier 2 is pretty good. They also have the master mime here, which can detect. So this is your tier 1 detection, these mimes, the master mimes. In tier 2 you can also get the disruption, which is basically a stun for buildings and vehicles, like the, what is it called again? The skull probe ability, you know. This is on your mimes, very useful. And they have an array of weapons. The first one, the Harlequin Chris, is a melee weapon in tier 1. Which is, yeah, basically makes them pretty good in melee. And in tier 2 you have Neurodisruptors or Fusion Guns. Neurodisruptors are anti-infantry pretty well, which also slows them, I think, reduces enemy accuracy and movement speed, yes. And you have the Fusion Gun, which is, yeah, your Fusion Gun anti-vehicle. And building. The good thing is that you have these anyway, because they're so good. And in tier 2, if you have infiltrated Fusion Gun squad, you have basically something like a tank buster unit. And the range of the fusion gun is greater than the detection range of a strategic point. So you can stand here, shoot it without being detected. Very useful. Your second tier 1 squad are the tropes. Harlequin tropes are, yeah, like a squad of Harlequins. Yeah, like how you imagine Harlequins, I want to say. Very good in melee, can shoot a bit as well, but generally melee unit can use, I think it's the flip belt ability, which is basically a leap into combat in tier 1. You need to research it, however. And can, as you can see here, also the Harlequin Kiss weapons, which yeah, are better melee variant weapons. And lastly, you can have the Trope Master, which enables the hallucination grenades, which you have to research as well. The hallucination grenades reduces the renders the enemy troops unable to attack, reduces their defense, and also slows them. So it's basically you can catch the enemy and you can deal more damage to the enemy. Very focused on the melee usage of these units. In tier 2 you get access to 2 more infantry squads. One is the Death Jesters over here. The Death Jesters are very range focused. They have a big range, have a setup time however, and are not really fast on their feet. For Harlequin however, that is, they have quite a lengthy setup time. You can see here, start off with 1 model, so you need to reinforce them quite a bit. And yeah, I limited to 4, I think. Yeah, limited to 4. And in tier 3 they can get bright lances, which are very good, so they can be useful in tier 3 for some long ranged anti-vehicle. Very nice. And they have 2 abilities. The Song of Curves is always available. Cripple enemy, defend enemy, nearby enemies. Basically not, they cannot use abilities. And Chance to Confuse and Daze and Cripple. Basically it's the ability you want to use if some melee squads come close to your Death Jesters to escape. And then you have the Shrieker shots, which is a very, it's like a grenade doing hell of a lot of morale damage, and in general big damage, morale damage and damage as well. For it you need to have all 4 units in the squad. However, if you're missing 1 or 2 you cannot use it. So basically if you use 1 squad member or do not have them all together, you cannot use it. That's a kind of way trying to balance it, because in the past it was quite a valid strategy, as they only start with 1 squad member. They are relatively cheap to build. You can see here 100 and something. You get all 4 with 1 model using only the grenade. So this was the pretty overpowered abilities. Now you have to at least reinforce it complete and use the squad as intended. A new squad in this version is the White Seers, which pretty much looks like your how should I say, your Seer Council kinda. Is a commander unit, can use also containment, which is basically entangle. It's a root. Are not really fast however, and you see that they are not sparkle, because they do actually get more HP from the commander upgrades instead of getting the sparkle upgrades. And they can get these witch blades over here, which are very good in melee. They can use a bit of range with their like mind weapons and stuff, but yeah, and generally very comparable to the how should I say, to the Seer Council. However, they are tier 2.5 and lower in number and lower in damage and speed. So that's yeah, you have not fleet of foot or something. So they can be very tanky and very useful in their own rights. They can also cap, something I haven't said. The only capping unit in the start is the Mimes. All the other infantry units can decap, but not cap. Only Mimes, and also now White Seers can cap. So you will always want to have some Mimes around. And last and certainly not least are the Shadow Dancers over here, which is a tier 3 melee superiority unit. They have some ranged options also in these fusion pistols, but are mainly used in melee. Very good. Also get the flipping belt leap, and of course you see all the sparkly bits here. Can have Harlequin Kiss and fusion pistols, and if you research is the Shadow Run. The Shadow Run, they are infiltrated and move faster. They cannot aim and use the ranged weapons, so it disables the ranged weapons, but who needs ranged weapons if you move this fast and are infiltrated as well? So very good melee unit. You always want to have it if you are tier 3 and building infantry. These units are worth their weight in gold, especially as you can see here. They are unbreakable, so they will always deal their full damage. Very useful. And before we jump over to the vehicles, I want to talk about 3 upgrades you can give your infantry and commanders, which are, you have to decide basically. There are the Sadath, whatever you want to call them. You have to decide one of the 3. It's the Live Sadath, the Dark Sadath, or the Twilight Sadath. You can only have one. Affects, I think it should affect all commanders and infantry. I think there is a, as this is a new ability, there may be a few squads which it not works yet, but yeah, it will be fixed at some point, or it doesn't show and I'm not seeing it correctly. But yeah, it should affect all your infantry and commanders. The first one, the Light Sadath, increases the chance of the enemy completing missing, so basically ups your dodging chance you have from the holo suits and stuff a bit more, making your units even more survivable, which is really nice. Then you have the Dark Sadath, which is like if your unit dies, it gets a little damage around it. I'm not have seen a big effect for it, but I know it works. And then there's the Twilight Sadath, which is also very useful, which increases the speed and accuracy of your Harlequin units. It's not a big speed increase, but it is a speed increase, and accuracy is basically a damage buff. So this is very offensive based Sadath, and I think I would most of the time use this because, as you have may noticed, there's a lot of melee focus on the Harlequin units, and if you are faster and dealing more damage, then your melee focus can shine even more. So I think from the 3, I would prefer this one, but yeah, all have their uses. Like being in general more survivable helps, of course, also with melee units. And yeah, like if you have a lot of small units that aren't that expensive, having them explode to the enemy face basically is also pretty useful. So all the 3 have their worth and stuff, so decide on your own regards. Now we talk about the vehicles. You have a tier 1 vehicle, which is a Skyweaver, basically a jet bike. It has melee and range, which is good. It cannot decap because that would be way too strong, but it can jump. Has only 1 jump, then you need to recharge. It's relatively fast, and the big upside compared to the Dark Elder jet bike is that it can go in ranged and melee as it chooses. So it does not regenerate on its own, so you need to repair. And yeah, has also a morale bar because yeah, it's a guy sitting on it. So yeah, very versatile. There's a whole strategy where you get as much Skyweavers as you can in tier 1, as it is for Dark Elder. So yeah, there you have that. In tier 2 you have more vehicles available. The first one is the Venom. The Venom is a jumping transport unit, kind of similar to the Falcon and kind of not. It is, I think, a little bit faster than the Falcon, but deals a bit less damage, so that's how you use that. Then you have the Wraith Walker, which is similar to your Wraith Lord. Is it Wraith Lord? The Walker unit, I think. Very similar, can walk, but also can jump. The jumping distance isn't like the greatest, but works pretty well. And can get repeater autocannons or bright lenses, so can also get in range stance and deal some anti-vehicle with it, but in general very good in melee indeed. A new unit in this version is the Void Weaver, which is a kind of Viper unit, can also jump, but has a special weapon. That's its Haywire Cannon, which basically stuns enemy vehicles or buildings. And buildings, yeah, you heard correctly, you can use this. The damage isn't the greatest, but it's more to be a support unit. So you can focus down enemy big vehicles or enemy turrets, for example, you can use it, or enemy listening posts. I think it also works on production buildings that it cannot produce, but you can correct me if I'm wrong here. So very useful in that regard. Has not the greatest HP, but in general it's a very good supportive unit for various tasks, breaking enemy defensive with it because you stun them and stuff like that. Very useful. In tier 3 you get access to one of the best units, vehicles in tier 3 you can have, which is the Mockingbird. Can jump, has a lot of different weapons, and yeah, does a hell of a lot of damage. Very sturdy as well, especially if you get the holo suits, holo fields for it. So limited to 2, it's kind of like a predator in a way. So you want to get it out on the field. A new unit in this version as well are the Ghost Warrior Assassins and the Ghost Warrior Executioners. The Ghost Warrior Assassins are can use ranged and melee, can teleport, and yeah, cannot decap or stuff. They are vehicle, and the Ghost Warrior Executioners are melee focused but cannot teleport. Yeah, you see that they also sparkle, so they get also bonus from the holo suits, and I think maybe even from the Sardeath, but I'm not sure here. And they get infiltrated, but not with the tier 2 infiltration, which infiltrates the mimes. With the tier 3 or tier 4, we will see it in the tech tree. With the second infiltration upgrade, they get also infiltrated. Are very useful in melee for the most part, and yeah, a nice addition if you want to have some infiltrated stuff around the map. Can use their own little assassin how should I say, assassin duties. Like this unit is also good against vehicles assassin. This is more anti-infantry focused. So yeah, limited to 1 each, also showing in the commander tab. So yeah, there you go. Later on in tier 4 you get a special quote-unquote vehicle, which is the Spirit Walker. The Spirit Walker is demon armor, so your normal anti-vehicle weaponry does not work well. What does work against demon armor high are melee units like commanders or Grey Knights and stuff. Like melee superiority units do work best against demon armor. It has, yeah, basically the ranged and melee attack. You have seen it, the ranged attack from the illusionary Spirit Walker. It's very good. And then you have also the grenade barrage, which can you use, which does, yeah, a big damage in AoE. And you can use it in melee and ranged. It does look like more of a melee unit to me for when I saw it first, but it also has some ranged capabilities. And then you have here your tier 1 Titan, which is your, oh god, the name, Skatach Wraith Knight, which is a Wraith Knight, but bigger and better, can teleport, and yeah, has melee and ranged abilities. In general, you see, it has a lot of ranged weaponry on it. It has bright lances and these, not sure what these are called, but yeah, it's really good at ranged compared to the normal Wraith Knight you have for Elder, which is more of a relic unit, kind of tier 4 unit, which can go in melee and range. This unit is more ranged focused, which is interesting. And last but not least, you have the Vampire Raider, which is your tier 4 flyer unit, limited to 1 big HP. Damage isn't the greatest, it's more of a utility unit. As big HP, as I said, can hold their own with these bright lenses, I think, against other aircraft buildings and stuff. Not very good against infantry, of course. Can land. I think there's not enough space here, that's why it's not working. Can we get some space, please? I want to show that works kind of like the Thunderhawk kind of units, where you can land it and then put units inside. It doesn't work here for whatever reason. I have seen it work in other maps. Maybe it's a map thing, or yeah, I have seen it work like in another game I played yesterday. So yeah, I know it works. You can land it, put units inside, and get in the air again. Oof, I think this should cover all the units. Quickly thinking about it, no, I think I got everything. So we now, as usual, jump to the tech tree documents. I do not go over the bonus units from survival, because they're all normal squads. The only thing special in survival is that you can get the turrets, but for that I will not do an extra save game and stuff. So we will now jump over to the tech trees. And here we are on the tech tree document. As usual, you can find these tech trees and also the build orders I show you later in my Google Drive. Link is in the description. Yeah, basically I have all upgrades and stuff here. You see here the holosuit upgrades that are like each tier is 1. These are the commander holosuits, I call them, and then you have the vehicle holosuits only in tier 3. The first infiltration upgrade is in tier 2 and the second one is in tier 3, so basically tier 3.5, where you can get your assassins infiltrated and also your attached units to your mimes infiltrated. So there you have that. Without going like through every unit and every placement over here. Quickly about the tier strengths. Harlequins start pretty strong in tier 1 already, as you have pretty good mimes. There's a whole strategy, the mime spam, which is one of my favorite strategies with them, where you get all 5. They are limited to 5 mimes, and yeah, this is basically your tier 1. The tropes can be very good as well, but you need to get the upgrades for them, basically like the holo suits and the flipping birds, making them pretty good. The great Harlequin can hold its own pretty well as well. And there's another strategy where you get a whole bunch of these sky weavers, these jet bikes, which also hold their own pretty well for your tier 1 kind of stuff. They have been nerfed a bit before. At some point they were like the best strategy you can do for them, so that has changed a bit. Tier 2 is also very strong, because you have like these death jesters, which are good. Your vehicles are pretty strong as well. The new added squads like the White Seers and these special, I call it the Viper kind of unit, you can do very well about. If you have melee infantry, you can support them very well with the bards and their abilities. The Shadow Seer as well is pretty strong. So the tier 2 is also pretty strong. Tier 3, you have different factions which have like more options in tier 3, but all the stuff you get in tier 3 is very good. It's not like you have the big choices like Space Marines with their Predators and their 5 different specializations you can get them. But the stuff you get, like the Shadow Dancers and the Mockingbirds, are top-notch tier 3 units. I haven't seen these assassins in a lot of uses yet, so I'm not have no experience with them. So maybe you can tell me how good they are. And the Solitaire in its solitary use and state can be very good as well. And as I said, these upgrades increase everything you have already, like a lot of infantry and stuff, and making them even better still. Your tier 4 and tier 1 Titans it's not the greatest. You have like one commander, a relic unit and a flyer, and then one tier 1 Titan. There are other factions which have a lot more variety in the late game, but not every faction needs to be that powerhouse in every tier. As I said, Harlequins more rely on their tier 2, tier 3, and a strong opening in tier 1. About the units, you have everything listed here. If you see for Sentry Railwalker, you need an actual relic to get the illusionary thingy here going. Other than that, you see the commanders, which they, the squad leader, what they require. The different passive abilities of these holo suits I have here, so that you see where they got a dodge chance and stuff like that. The Sadeath, which are units are affected by the Sadeath. And yeah, I think this, I have said for the most part all that is important. Here you see the bonus units for survival are mimes, tropes, wraithwalker, another mockingbird, and then a walker unit here, the relic unit, another one. So that's your survival units. Now we jump over to the build orders, which I have prepared, which show you some basic openers, and yeah, then we will continue the guide with a replay. And here we are in the build order document. The first build order I have prepared for you is a quote-unquote standard. Standard is for me like having a good army composition which can carry your game and giving you a good foot to tier 2, which is for Harlequins, I would say 2 mimes, using the power ability right away, and then get a great Harlequin and 1 trope. You want to get a second builder at some point so we can keep up with the capping stuff, and also can help use it in melee, or keep them close to the melee units to give them some healing ability. Again, adding a second trope doesn't hurt, and then you want to use at least a second time these power ability to then get tier 2. So not very specialized in anything, but yeah, it's like a mix match, and yeah, can use a lot of things. It all falls down or gets really good how you use your mimes. It's kind of similar like Space Marines. A good Space Marine player will always use their scouts pretty well, so this is here very pretty much the same. These mimes are very, very important to basically all games of Harlequins. Then you have more of a trope focused opener, where you see that I would not recommend use these power ability. Normally I would say anytime you start a Harlequin game, quickly click the power ability. For this build order, it's like optimized in a way that you do not need it and can actually get 2 tropes out pretty fast. So you get the barracks, I call it, the trope portal, and Temple of the TheLaughingMax for the flipping belt upgrade. And as soon as you start to accumulate some power with this, you want to get the holosuits. And once you got the holosuits, you want to get the leaders, get a 3rd trope if you have, or because you will get some extra requisition, and then you get the grenades later on. Maybe I should switch this around, so you get 1st to 3rd squad, and then you get the grenades. I think this is a better option. And then as you see here, you're pretty power hungry with this build because you have these 3 upgrades, as well as the squad leader and the special weapons, all very power hungry, very tier 1 focused opener, which can work in certain matchups and cannot work in other matchups. So yeah, pretty strong, however, if it works. Then you have the mime spam, which is my favorite build, where you get basically a bunch of mimes, the second builder, so they can keep up with the building. You use the ability, get your Temple of the TheLaughingMax, and get your holosuit, so these guys get more tanky. And with the rest of the power, you get the master mimes, and then yeah, you can roam free with them. Mostly use them in ranged, I would say. And yeah, be an absolute nuisance with the mimes with holosuits. Get then at least twice the power ability to get to tier 2. Here's the Skyweaver spam. In previous iteration of this, I got like up to 15, which is a little overkill, because yes, they are really good and you want to have a few of them, because the first one isn't the issue, the second one is okay, and then starting from the third one, it's become quite the issue. So you want to have a flock of at least 5, but 10 is a little more efficient. And for them, you want to get the Trope Portal and the Temple of the Laughing God, because this is the requirement for the bikes. Use the ability, of course, because all these bikes cost power. And most importantly, after your second mime, you want to have your vehicle cap increase, because they cost a vehicle pop. So it aligns pretty well if you do it like this, that your vehicle pop upgrade is finished at the same time that your first bike is ready as well. And yeah, you want to have your second vehicle cap increase, so you can get another set of 5, get your power upgrades, get some upgraded listening posts. But as you see here, in this build order, you do not have the space pretty much to get a second builder. You can get a second builder, but it sets back your bike production, your Skyweaver production quite a lot actually. The last one I have here for you is a tier 2 rush. You can notice that you can get actually 3 mimes with this. Use the ability, lose the Trope Portal, and then get to tier 2. This is a kind of a better tier 2 rush than normal, because you have more units around on the field, but the economy is really hindered as you only have 1 builder. So yeah, it depends what you want to go in tier 2. Either you want to go for quick death jesters or for quick vehicles. Quick vehicles is a little more difficult as you need more economy for it. Quick death jesters can be used pretty well, as you already have the Trope Portal, so they can be quite powerful. The issue, of course, is that they are really slow. So normally these death jesters are like devastators and stuff like that. They want to be carried around by a vehicle. So yeah, can work, cannot work. Against the AI, of course, it will work, but against another player, it's difficult. But as I said, you have a little more staying power than usual tier 2 rushes have. Okay, so these are the build orders, and now I have a replay for you. This is actually a game I played against Connor Brett, on his last stream, or one of his last streams. Yeah, I used the Skyweaver spam there, and yeah, neither me nor Connor are the absolutely top-notch players there around, so don't expect like the biggest micro and stuff, but it showcases this build order pretty well, I think. So yeah, you will see us in the replay. And here we are in the replay on Fortress Divided, where I fight Connor Brett, playing 1000 Suns as Harlequins. Going into this matchup, I thought about going into using my favorite build, which would be the mime spam, but then I remembered that the Heroic Marines are morale immune, so the big strength of the mimes morale damage would go pretty much south, as well as yeah, the Screamers do pack a punch in melee and can kill Harlequins mimes pretty well. So I decided to go for a Skyweaver spam here. The trope focused opener could probably also have worked, as you could go into melee against these Rubric Marines, and you could also go I think challenge the Screamers in melee. I think you could do that, not tested it however. So yeah, you see that it lines pretty well up, that you get the trope portal, get the Skyweaver, and then you will have the pop upgrade done before the Skyweaver is about to finish, so that's pretty nice. And as I said, you will see that I will use pretty much all my resources here, not be able to afford a second builder. This is non-optimal. Normally you would want to have this finished and then build a second listing post so that your second Skyweaver is faster. So we see some cultists. Conoperates like to add a cultist or two in his build, so I decide to use my first Skyweavers in the defensive duty, jumping them over here. One Skyweaver you see doesn't deal a whole lot of damage, but my second Skyweaver is now here as well. Should move over here, and will be very useful indeed. So these cultists need to run away and I can continue capping. You see the capping game, especially the building of the listing post, is relatively slow with this build. In return you get really good aggressive opener, having already 3 bikes now, being absolutely nuisance, nothing he can easily deal with, more Thrall Wizard, so very good targets for me, to be honest. The Sorcerer is now here, and 1, 2, 3, 4 now, 5th one is on the way, building up my points, and I need to get the second upgrade soonish. See that even in range I can deal with these. This guy goes for the Confusion spell. I think this works on these Skyweavers too, but I decide let's go over here where the Screamers are, challenge the Screamers. You see they are very mobile indeed. Do I get the second upgrade? I do not. I think I should have cancelled the Skyweaver and got the second pop upgrade first and then restart the next Skyweaver, but I think that's okay-ish. Using now the mimes in conjunction with these, and I'm not worried about them going into melee. Now I see the Confusion spell over here, so I try to not get into the AoE. Mimes over here get a little attacked, but I get my points over here capped. We'll get the points built up there at some point as well. I think now is when I realize that I need to get that done. 5 Skyweavers here, 1 spot of mimes now here as well, and there comes the 6th Skyweaver. So you want to go to 10 at least. Also notice this little bomb over here if you haven't already. So there's some little Easter eggs on this map that I really like. Some other ones are on the billboards, I think. Was this one with the billboards? Not sure, I think this was the other one. Ecstasy Sparrow. This is Photos Divided. Kudos to Barbatos for these really nice maps. You see now that you can really micro them out of the way as well. If you would be even better in the micro, you would have a Chorus out here, but the Chorus is busy building stuff. And the Chorus can get into it and repair stuff pretty well as well. What a nice English sentence. 8 Skyweavers now, 9th on the way, and now I need to slowly but surely start to think of getting more power so that I can start tier 2 at some point. I do not want to get stuck on the Skyweavers for too long, because the opponent could use the time you more or less lose here building up an army and attacking his points to tech up and tech to anti-vehicle. And if there is even no slightly anti-vehicle, these bikes will fall over pretty well. Killing this now, getting it decapped, and trying to get the next point. Getting my points up myself, needing a bit more power here. So if I would have activated the power a little earlier, I think I would have already have the power needed. Screamers coming in, Sorcerer as well. But only Screamers and Sorcerer for now. Another Doom Bolt flying in, not sure. It does deal some damage. Screamers, as I said, will not deal enough And it's also Lord. Dies. This was a big W for me here. Not sure why I'm not working here. See, now I use the chorus to repair. Do they regenerate with the chorus around? No, regeneration aura is only for infantry. Now I'm going into the base, seeing more screamers now, trying to get the points. Tier 2 is now on the way as well. And one upgrade I totally forget, there's one of these upgrades increases the damage of basically all infantry and Skyweavers. So don't forget the one upgrade here. That's very important with this build order. In this instance here I forget it. Screamers coming in looking pretty nifty. And yeah, absolutely dying here. But there comes the Horus. And the Horus is what is for me now the absolutely the how should I say, the mark, the design to leave the space, because Horus will hard counter these. You cannot single them out as easily and stuff. Demon armor is not the greatest for them to shoot at in general, and then yeah, if you get some Horus against you, that's pretty bad. The mimes I would deal great with them. Now what do I go for? I go for holo suit, so I try to get infantry transition, and the infantry I try to transition will be Death Jesters, because Death Jesters are really good anti-infantry stuff, do also good against these Horus in general. You see 2 bolts and hurled, and these Skyweavers almost dead. Yeah, as I said, there's one very important upgrade here that I think I forget to take. Yeah, I use my map control that I gained from the bikes to build the Thermoplasma generator, and here you see now the mimes against those will pretty well. I think I also have these, yeah, I also have these Neurodisruptors, because I saw these guys, and I thought Neurodisruptors for slowing them and stuff would be nice. It's camping here, getting also the what should I say, infiltration. Over here I try to attack again and forget to micro just a few seconds. These are 2 squads of Horus, and I lose half my Skyweavers because I was busy looking elsewhere. So you see how easily they get killed once you get countered. Do I get the important upgrade now? Holosuit's the second. It is important, don't get me wrong, but the one damaging upgrade with all my Skyweavers I have already on the field would be absolutely amazing. And what I also should have thought a bit earlier was to transition into some vehicles as well, because Death Jesters are nice and all, but yeah, there are Screamers and stuff that could challenge them. But yeah, I have these now, the Skyweavers here on, how should I say, on demand. Change them to melee stance, so they can then double down on a melee squad to go in front of the Death Jesters. That is the general idea here. What upgrade do I finally get? No, this is the special weapon upgrades for the mimes. Not what I wanted, what I need here actually. What I wanted in the moment, yes, but not what I need. So my acquisition is actually not enough for what I take here, but there's the stage support portal now, and these Death Jesters for the most part are reinforced or are about to be reinforced. This one guy is not reinforced, and now I try to force the issue, and there's the Sorcerer. The Sorcerer can use this confusion, so I'm waiting for the confusion spell, because I see that it's a potent, and yeah, he puts it really nicely used. First the disruption, and then the confusion spell, but I managed to go outside here. Only the mimes shooting themselves for a bit, breaking their own morale, so they will not do damage. I think this was the one upgrade now that I skipped it. The one that increases the damage of basically all infantry. I think apart from Death Jesters, all infantry and Skyweavers, but no Death Jesters. Getting now also tier 3 because I can, having now the enemy points, so yeah, he has only the 3 points in his base, and yeah, this does not look good. Mimes coming in. Do they have more Neurodisruptors? Yes, they do. Because everything I have seen was demons. If I would have seen some vehicles now, I would need to transition again. Either more mines with fusion blasters then, or some vehicles on my own. Like the the Wraith Walker and stuff, but yeah, GG is called from Connor Brett. Yeah, as I said, not the highest class of execution on both sides, but I think the general premise is okay, and you saw how you counter the bikes. If you can try to fall back a bit, because the overall damage against buildings isn't the highest, and if you see bikes and your enemy committed to bikes, they delay the attack by quite a bit, as you have seen me doing. If you then can muster in some anti-vehicle, fast anti-vehicle, you can stop them. But the transition out of it is what makes this build so difficult to deal with, because you have most of the time with opening bikes, Skyweavers, you have the map control, and map control is key in Dawn of War, so pretty strong still. Yeah, in general, as usual for my guides, if I have said something wrong, if you have some additional information that I missed, please put it in the comments. The most helpful comment will get pinned as usual, so that the guys in the audience in the comments see the infos missing or wrong. But yeah, as usual guys, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.